Here for today's Zoning Board of Adjustments meeting. It's Monday, October the 7th, 2024, and it is 1:38. All right, we're going to get started, and I need to establish a quorum. We have a quorum here. We do. We can move on from there. And how many do we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of us are here today. And y'all wouldn't believe how much we get paid to do this. I mean, it's just absolutely, I won't have to work for another 6 months after that, will I? Okay. All right, let's see. Meeting's been called to order. We're going to put the public comment up first. Do we have anybody that wants to do item number 2 here called public comment? If you do, please step up. Some rules have changed, policies and stuff, and so it might be a good idea for staff. There's a timer. We have 3 minutes for public comment. And while I wait for people to come up for public comment, I got to back up and go establish the minutes of, no, that's item 3. Yeah. Wow. Doesn't look like there's any public comments, so I'll move on to item. Aaron?
Correct. There's no one signed up today for just public comments, but that is a new process that the City Council has implemented, that board meetings, citizens will have an opportunity to sign up for public comment, which could be on anything outside of the agenda, or they can sign up for an item or more on the agenda if they chose to. And our city staff will be keeping track of that, and then we'll let you know at each case if there are citizens that have signed up to talk during the public comment of a case or the general public comment for the board.
Thank you, Aaron. Does the board have any questions on that? Some things have changed. Okay.
The last thing I would just remind everybody, when you have an opportunity to speak, please speak into your microphone so they can catch the recording. There are folks that do actually watch this from home, and then we utilize it as we try to go back and look at the minutes and make sure that we captured everything that was your intent in the meeting as well. So thank you.
Thank you, Aaron. Okay, item number 3, we'll move on here to item 3, review and take any action related to minute records of the regular meeting held Monday, August 5th, 2024.
Move approval.
I have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion on it? There being none, I'll take the vote. All in favor say aye.
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 Aye. Motion carries 6-0. Item number 4, ZBA 24-29, 2488 Culver Avenue, Single Member District, number 5, Karen Hesse Smith. A request for approval of a variance to allow a 5-foot front yard setback in lieu of the required 25 feet for a carport structure in the single-family residential RS1 zoning district.
Thank you. Austin Reed Planner. This request comes to you out of the ASU College Hills neighborhood. We are in District Number 5, Karen Hesse Smith's district. The zoning for this property is RS1, single-family residential. The property is 0.164 acres, and as mentioned, we have a request for approval of a 5-foot front yard setback in lieu of the required 25 feet for a carport structure. We did mail out 35 notices. 4 of those were returned in favor. 4 were opposed. The opposition didn't like the idea of a carport and wanted to uphold the building setback regulations. So on to our analysis. The carport's already constructed. It's there. The applicant's contractor didn't obtain permits or anything that they required. When they found this out, they did approach the city and began to ask for a variance. Unfortunately, there doesn't appear to be any special circumstances peculiar to the land that would justify a variance. It's a very typical lot with typical measurements, typical setbacks. Additionally, a vast majority of the surrounding neighbors do abide by the front setback requirements, and there was a clean building line across the block face. So like I said, staff weren't able to find that all necessary criteria for granting a variance have been met. I have included some photos. You can see it's constructed out of wood with a metal roof. And it's mostly flat. It might have a little bit of a pitch to it. I've also included here an old survey with some basic measurements as well. With that, we are recommending denial. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them.
I have one. What's that extra 10-foot thing in the front?
That's just the amount of right-of-way between the property line and the street.
So what you're looking for is 5 feet from the property line, not 5 feet from the street?
Correct.
Am I reading it right?
Yeah, 15 feet from the street about, yeah. Okay. Thanks, Ray.
Okay, any questions for Mr. Reed? I have one that, of course, they didn't get a permit, correct?
Correct.
It's not in the overlay zone?
No, sir, it's not.
What's the code for a carport? Like if you were to apply for a permit, what is the restrictions?
So they have to follow normal building setback regulations, so if they're not within the open structure overlay zone, they of course have to be the 25 feet back. If they're within the open structure overlay zone, they can be within 5 feet of the front property line, provided it's at least 10 feet away from the curb.
Okay,
So if this were in the open structure overlay, they would meet that setback requirement. I'm not sure if they would meet the design requirements. So, yeah.
That's a different story. Is there any other carports in the area?
Not that I've noticed. There seemed to be one a block over, and it was pretty old.
So explain the part about the overlay zone.
Sure. So the open structure overlay is a zone over a certain part of the city. Within that zone, substantially open structures such as carports are allowed to encroach into that front setback. They don't have to follow that 25 feet. They can be 5 feet away from the front property line instead. Like I said, that only applies to what we would call a substantially open structure like a carport.
So, but if they were in the overlay zone, they would be compliant?
From the setback side of it, yes. Now, we do have design criteria for carports as well. They have to blend into the house. They have to have a pitch to them, some other additional regulations. But that 5 feet, it would follow, yes.
More questions?
so is the variance just for the setback, not the design?
Correct. Yes.
So if the variance was approved, they'd have to still fix the design. Is that correct? I mean, it would come back to you.
Was
That
that-
would be part of it. Is that correct?
Is that only for the open structure overlay, or is that in general? Okay.
Correct. Since this is not in the open structure overlay, there's not a design criteria for carports outside of that. It's just the setback is at the 25-foot mark. That's why most carports are either behind that, built in the backyard off the alleyway, not in the front yard, in the front yard setback.
Can you go back to the survey, please? There's a lot of backyard, isn't there, in their alley also? I wanted to see if there was an alley. Okay, thank you. Any more questions? All right, thank you. I'm going to open it up for public comment. Step up to the microphone, state your name, please, for the record.
So I think we should allow the applicant to speak first if they are here, and then after that, we'll open up to public comment.
Okay. Nope.
I'm not
Ah,
sure.
you must be the applicant.
Yes.
No, no.
Oh, sorry.
Is the
Do we have
applicant
the
here?
applicant here?
I'm not sure.
Okay,
Nobody signed up as the applicant.
okay,
Okay.
that makes more sense.
Yeah, so sorry. Yeah, from moving forward, I guess we're going to allow the applicant to speak first if they are here. If they're not here, we'll go ahead and open it up to
Okay.
general
Well,
public.
if I get offline, just hit me upside the head.
No worries.
Throw a spitball or something. All right, sir, you can step back up. The applicant is not here. Okay.
Okay. So this is Mr. Bob Ingram.
Bob
Okay.
Ingram. Oh, Bob Ingram.
Perfect.
Haven't seen Bob Ingram in a long time.
Bob Ingram, I'm a local real estate broker. I represent Mr. Ron Leon of Honolulu, Hawaii, who owns 2472 next door, and he's asked us to appear for Mr. Leon and speak against this variance. I have Mr. Leon's comments. If I could call my colleague Case Harden up to, I'm having a little trouble with my eyes. We'd like to enter Mr. Leon's comments.
That shouldn't be a problem, should it? Just step up and state your name for the record, please.
My name is Case Harden,
Okay.
and Mr. Leong said the extent of the variance requested is unreasonable and contrary to the intent and purpose of such setback laws. The purpose for the variance fails to provide justification for an egregious variance, and it sets an untenable precedent.
Thank you.
And it's my opinion that Mr. Leon is correct. The the variance would definitely affect the value of Mr. Leon's property, which is 2472 Cover, the house next door. There's also, we understand that it's 5 foot from the curb, and I'm not sure. I always thought that there was a 10-foot setback for the city, but be that as it may, we want to insert Mr. Leon's comments.
Okay, thank you. Who's next?
Okay. So we also have a Brent Kester, I believe it is. Thank you.
The first time.
Rick,
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Brent Kester. I own the house at 2483 Culver. And it's I don't know if you ever driven down Culver. It's a very quaint street, and you can see all the way down all the front yards. The structure now sticks out, and it's like it just stands out. It's just there. And so I don't know what they could do aesthetically to make it blend in, or, but it really does stand out. And one of a previous place we lived, we had noticed the Airbnb industry would put up these carports and these parking because they needed more parking for their Airbnb that they were turning the house into. And so I don't know if that's the goal for this house or if it's another change. But once the one started, it just snowballed, one after the other. And then it kind of really changed because some of them were longer, some of them were shorter. And I'm not a big fan of big government, telling people what they can and can't do, but the gentleman did not get a permit. And I think and I've worked with the zoning department in the past, and they have been extremely helpful. Made sure all my ducks were in a row and all my I's were dotted, my T's were crossed. And we were able to successfully move on with projects. And I think if a simple phone call would have been able to get this ball rolling in the right direction and avoid some of this. And I am opposed to it, and I'll just leave it at that. Thank you.
When did they build it? How long has it been built?
It still looks like new construction. I mean, it went up fast.
Did it 6
Yeah.
months?
I would not, I don't know how long.
Roughly.
How long has it been up? Anybody else know?
This year?
Yeah.
This year?
I'm unsure.
This year?
Oh, yeah, this year.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
That's all we had signed up for that public comment.
Oh, no, this guy.
He can speak again if he'd like.
Ah,
Case Harden again. I wanted to read Miss Kester's comments on the issue. This requested variance is very concerning It will affect the aesthetics of the neighborhood negatively. It's extreme and unreasonable, and a big concern is the reason for the large carport. Will there be multiple cars parked there? Will there be large gatherings there? Will there be multiple families living there? Are they intending to use the residence as an Airbnb? It would be detrimental to the real estate and the neighborhood and the precedents it would set for other variances. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we need those for record? Do we need those letters for record?
Will we need those letters for record?
Since he read them in, no, that's reading them into the record.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Any more public comment? Okay, I'm going to close public comment and then ask for the board's commentary on this, if any. If not, well, I'm going to ask for a motion.
I would move that in the absence of the owner being here and in the absence of a permit, that we agree with the city's recommendation to deny.
I'll second that.
I have a motion to deny and a second. Board want to discuss it any further, or should I go to the vote? Let's go to the vote. All in favor for Mr. Lassiter's motion, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries 6-0. All right, moving on to item number 5, ZBA 24-31, 149 Los Lomas Drive, Single Member District Number 1, Tommy Hebert. A request for approval of variance to allow for a lot width of 100 foot in lieu of the required 150 feet for a ranch and estate R&E lot located at 149 Los Lomas Drive. Mr. Reed?
Thank you. Austin Reed, planner. This comes to you out of the Nasworthy neighborhood. We are in District Number 1, Tommy Hebert's district. This is a ranch and estate R&E lot. It's an acre and a half, and as you said, we have a request for approval of a 100-foot wide lot, whereas that 150 feet is what's required. So we mailed out 10 notices. We received 1 in favor and 1 opposed as well. So this lot is trying to plat. That's why they're coming before you. When a ranch and estate lot plats, when a ranch and estate lot plats, they're required to have 150 feet. This lot only has 100 feet, so they're asking for the variance. This is a lot with an existing home from the 80s. Sorry, I forgot to reset that. It's a learning process. So the home and lot predate the zoning ordinance. The lot does taper in as well, about 50 feet narrower towards the front. The back of the lot almost does conform to that 150-foot standards. All the other lots within the immediate area are pretty much the same size, shape, orientation. Granting a variance would simply establish what has already been there for many years, and it doesn't seem to adversely affect any of the surrounding properties either. So we think that it meets all the necessary criteria. Here's a photo of the front of the property, if it helps you. And then there's the plat as well. With that, we are recommending approval, but if you have any questions, I'd be happy to try and answer them.
Can you go back? There you go.
So that's what it, oh, thank you. Somebody turned it on for me. So that is 149 Los Lomas now, and they're going to divide it in half. Is that correct?
No, so we're platting it to match the current ownership lines. All we're doing is really establishing it as a legal lot. There's no further subdivision. This is pretty much how the property lines are right now.
Okay.
So what would be the outcome if it were to be denied?
They wouldn't be able to plat their lot. Whatever they need to plat their lot for, I'm not sure, but.
But it doesn't have to be platted, in other words.
I'm not sure what their plans are.
I mean, to sell it, you have to plat it, I suppose?
As from working with the gentleman, I believe they're trying to build a barn or pool house, and in order to build anything on the lot, it has to be platted.
Yeah, there are certain triggers if you're doing construction that would require the lot to plat. Right now, it's in what we call abstract, where it's never been platted, so.
So can you go back to the pictures of the properties that are there right now?
Sure.
Okay, so it's already there. It's already 50 feet, correct?
It's 100 feet wide.
I'm sorry?
It's 100 feet wide, yes.
It's supposed to be 150
Okay,
feet.
150.
Yes.
Okay. And that was built in the
80s, from what I can
80s,
tell.
Late 70s, early
Yeah.
80s, okay. Okay, thank you. And there's a house, well, I guess I'm not there. There is a house to the left of the picture also?
Yes, there's a house on both
Okay.
sides. So they're pretty much locked in with private property on both sides, so they would have to plat where they are now, really.
So once they get this approved, their next step obviously is a building permit and
Well,
on
they're-
down the line, correct?
Their next step would be to get that plat, most likely through the planning commission, and then they can obtain their building permits.
They go from there, okay. So they're liable to be back.
Perhaps.
Any more questions?
No.
Thank you, Austin.
Thanks.
I'm going to open for public comment, if any.
We did have the applicant. They can speak if there are questions. We also had one that was signed up to speak, but I don't think they're here anymore, so.
Okay. Is the applicant here? Yeah. Step up and state your name for the record, please, sir.
My name is Ryan Edmondson. I live at 149 Los Lomas.
Okay. Do you have any questions for the applicant? There being none, thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, close public comment. Okay, board, that's board commentary, if any, discussion or motion to,
I'd just like to make a motion to approve it.
okay, there's a motion to approve. Got a second? Any more discussion? All right, go to the vote. All in favor for the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, motion carries 6-0. Item number 6, ZBA 24-32, 8350 South Country Club Road, single-member district number 1, Tommy Hebert. A request for approval of variance to allow for a lot width of 132 feet in lieu of the required 150 feet for a ranch and estate lot located at approximately 8350 South Country Club Road.
Can you also read in the next item so we can do them together?
All right, item number 7, ZBA 24-33, 8360 South Country Club Road, single-member District 1, Tommy Hebert. A request for approval of variance to allow for a lot width of 132 feet in lieu of the required 150 feet for a ranch and estate lot located at approximately 8360 South Country Club Road. Hi, Ray.
Good afternoon, Ray Lineberry, planner. And we're going to do 8350 Country Club Road and then 8360. It is Nasworthy Neighborhood, District 1, Tommy Hebert. It is zoned R&E. It is 1 acre, and they are requesting 132.18 feet wide instead of the 150 that is required. And then just to the south of it is 8360 Country Club Road. Same neighborhood of Nasworthy. Tommy Hebert is the district, R&E. It is also 1 acres, and they are requesting 132.49 feet instead of the 150. And both of these lots are trying to plat so they can build a house on them. They are currently vacant. So we mailed out 8 notices. We received 1 in favor for each, and then technically we received 1 opposed for each. However, it is unclear. It is from the applicant, and so we think that they checked the wrong box, but we haven't been able to get a hold of them. So it is unclear. But they signed all the paperwork. So
That's interesting.
looking at the analysis, the lot tapers a little bit closer and making the 50-foot narrower, or it makes it more of the 132 feet. All of the lots within this area are about 132 feet. If you just go up Country Club Road and measure all of them, they're about 130 to 135 feet. So granting the variance would simply establish it in its current existing state, and does not seem to adversely affect any surrounding properties. Picture of nice, pretty, empty, vacant lot. This is the plat, and the reason I requested to do it together is because they are being platted. They are separate lots, but they are being on one plat, one final plat. But if you notice, this one says 132.18, and this one says 132.49. It says the same thing on the back. The width is the same on each one. And that is what they're requesting instead of the 150. And if you notice, you can kind of see a few above are also 132, like I said. Granted, they're not platted, but just so you know, there are others in the area. So with that, staff is recommending approval on 8350 Country Club Road for the 132.18 feet instead of the 150, and also recommending approval on 8360 Country Club Road for the 132.49 feet in lieu of the 150. With that, is there any questions?
Any questions?
And the applicant was here but is no longer, so if you have any questions, I can try to answer.
But they oppose it?
We're hoping that they just checked the wrong box.
Right. Okay. I don't have any questions.
Isn't there, I don't really have a question about this, but isn't there a 10% rule where y'all can just approve things like this without sending it to the board?
There is something called an administrative adjustment, and if there is, and it's up to 10%. If this had been 135, we could have gotten there, but being just outside, it's hard to get there.
So you don't have any wiggle room whatsoever?
I would be remiss if I tried to do wiggle room. That's really something that y'all would have that judgment to be able to do that I would not.
Is there any way of adjusting your percentage rate, like make it 15 or 20 rather than 10?
There is through an ordinance change, yes.
Through an ordinance change?
Yes, sir. It specifically says in the ordinance that we, as a staff team, has a 10%. And in a case like this, where there's not able to gather more land, it makes sense that we would be able to do that administrative adjustment, but that's...
I'm just wondering on all the rest of those plots on that, if they're all going to come in here for the same
If they're not
variance.
built out and people are looking for homes and they're selling them, I mean, those are always a chance, but...
Understand.
Yes, sir.
Okay, sorry.
Not a problem.
On the ranch and estate, is there still the 5-foot variance on either side requirement, or is it a larger?
It's actually a 15-foot side yard setback.
Okay. On either side?
On either side, yes.
So even though it's a smaller width of a lot, you're still going to have the 15 feet on either side, so their house is going to have to accommodate that?
Yes, and that's their plan as of right now.
Okay.
I did not know that. R&E's 15-foot side setback. Did not know that.
Because if y'all recall, probably about 2 months ago, we had one that they had, remember the water well, and that was affecting how the house sat. And so there was a side yard variance for 5 feet on that one. I think it went down from 15 to 10 feet wide.
Yes. We good?
Good, thank you.
Thank you, Ray. I'm open for public comment. There being any? Nope, no public comment, so I'm going to close public comment and talk to the board. Board,
Make a motion to approve both of the plats.
the motion to approve both of the plats. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
There being a second, any discussion? Being none, let's have the vote. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? There being none, motion carries 6-0. Division report.
Well, good afternoon, Board. I was going to introduce our new planning and development administrator, but she's out sick today, so maybe next month you'll be able to visit with her. Her name's Kim Garmany. We're very excited that she's come on board with us. She's been the grants writer for 2 years over in our Public Works and Operations Department. She's been very successful in that role, and she was hired last month, and so we're very excited for her starting her new role over with us. Staff team is doing well. We've hired a new planning technician. She's not here today. She's back holding the office down, Karen Putnam. We're very excited to have her come over. She was our current 911 coordinator, and she's come over to planning to help us over in the planning division. And so we're very excited about that. On a sad note, although she's not here today, Sherry Bailey is going to retire for the second time, but she's retiring at the end of this month. We will probably be having some sort of little reception for her towards the end of the month, and we'll make sure you guys have invites in case you're able to attend. We'll have to kind of make sure we don't go over the 3 people at a time, but we can work that out. We'll have a long enough time that you can come and go. Other than that, we're just working on things in planning, trying to just keep these guys from not having to be too overworked as I keep adding more and more tasks to them. So, but Ray and Austin have done great. I'm very impressed with their work. They did a great job with doing the presentations today and doing the research and really trying to do what's best for our community. So I think they're doing a great job for us. So with that, if there's anything y'all are looking for from us between now and maybe the first of the year, this last quarter of the year, please let us know, and we'll try to bring, whether it's education or something about the zoning ordinance that you want clarification on, just let us know, and we'll be sure and bring it to the board and have a discussion.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any questions? Any questions? Okay, moving on to item 9, next meeting agenda. The next regular meeting of the Zoning Board of Adjustments is scheduled to begin at 1:30 p.m. on Monday, November the 4th in the City Hall East Mezzanine Meeting Room. Item number 10, adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries 6-0. Thank you.
Good to see you back.